Hi, everybody. I'm Matt McMahon from the National Institutes of Health, and I'd like to welcome you to our virtual panel about the key role of NIH in seeding the product development pipeline. Many of you know that NIH is the largest biomedical research funder in the world, and we're focused on all diseases and platforms that span the biomedical spectrum. But in addition to basic science, NIH supports academic entrepreneurs and small businesses to develop products that improve health and save lives. And it's not just money. We have a number of programs and services that assist innovators to turn their scientific discoveries into product development projects. NIH is a big place. We're composed of 27 different individual institutes, but we recently centralized the coordination of our support for the early stage product development ecosystem. And we did that by forming a new office called SEED. And SEED is an office that sits within the NIH Office of the Director. And its job is to catalyze the early stage product development ecosystem. And the name SEED, it works as a name because people recognize that stage of the product development ecosystem as being the very earliest stage, that stage right after scientific discovery, but when a product development project first starts. And that's the space where we're really working in that early stage ecosystem, where innovators and funders understand what stage people are working at. But it also works as an acronym because SEED stands for Small Business Education and Entrepreneurial Development. So in the rest of this panel, you'll hear about some of the exciting things that SEED can do for you. And we'll kick it off with Stephanie Fertig.
Thanks, Matt. My name is Stephanie Fertig, and I'm the HHS Small Business Program Lead at NIH. Now, the small business programs really help NIH fulfill its mission of taking discoveries and turning them into health. And we help move those great innovations into the hands of the patients, clinicians, caregivers, and researchers that need them. We have about $1.2 billion a year available to small businesses to do that research and development that's really needed to move things to the marketplace. Now, we do that through the Small Business Innovation Research, or SBIR, and Small Business Technology Transfer, or STTR programs. Now, these programs, again, help de-risk those innovations and get them towards the commercial marketplace, or for many of our awardees, get them to an inflection point where they're then more attractive for investors or partners to help take them the rest of the way. Now, many of our awardees help use the funding that we provide and leverage that to attract those additional partners and investors. One of the myths that I hear about the SBIR and STTR programs is the amount of money that's available for an individual project. So an individual project can actually receive up to $7 million across all phases of the program. So that can hopefully get you, again, towards that goal of getting that innovation into the hands of those that need it. So to hear more about the SBIR and STTR programs at NIH, I encourage you to listen to our RESI panel that's specifically focused on the SBIR STTR programs and goes into a lot more detail about the specifics of the program, as well as you'll hear from several program officers at some of the different institutes and centers at NIH about their specific programs and how they can help you. So with that, I encourage you to contact us through our website, sbir.nih.gov. We're happy to answer your questions and help guide you towards available programs. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Saciella to talk a little bit more about some of the innovator support we have.
Thanks, Stephanie. So as both Matt and Stephanie mentioned, we are more than just money here in SEED, and I represent the team that really brings in that subject matter expertise, that non-science expertise that our innovators need to be successful. We offer really valuable services that help them bridge that gap between the small business funding that we can provide and those investors and private sector strategic partners that are going to help them really get their products to market, into hospitals, into clinics, and helping people build live better lives. We have business development advice and support programs. We have entrepreneurs in residence. You'll be hearing from John in a moment, who can really bring in decades worth of experience, although he himself, being so young, only has a few years of experience. And we have subject matter expertise in regulatory matters across all technology silos, in business development, in portfolio development, and intellectual property and reimbursement. We offer programs such as sponsored attendance and pitch coaching for new companies, small businesses, to understand how to talk to these investors and strategic partners when they attend these investor events. We provide regulatory consults and support programs. We deliver webinars and things of that nature. So if there's a non-science aspect to what you need to do to get your business and your technology move forward, our team is the one that can really help you get there. And I am going to just leave you with one thought. The way to reach us is on that same website. Go to the sbir.nih.gov website, look for the resources, and there's our contact info. With that, I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to John, who can tell you a little bit more about how specifically the EIRs have worked with and created value for some of our small businesses.
Thanks so much, Chris, and the rest of the panel. I'm John Sullivan. I'm an entrepreneur in residence here at NIH. And what I'd like to focus on for my part of the panel is really more the why question. You know, why should you, as an investor or entrepreneur, really understand and take advantage of these great programs that are at NIH? You know, and as Chris pointed out, unfortunately, I spent a few decades in my career focused on investing and innovation as a venture capitalist, an entrepreneur, and in corporate M&A. And applying that lens, how I'd answer the why question really is in two major areas. One is creating larger returns, and two is reducing investment risk. On the larger return side, the NIH's mission is really to focus on these important unmet needs in major important critical areas of healthcare, like heart disease and cancer, the COVID pandemic, opioid crisis, and many, many more. And we bring in these worldwide experts to vet these technologies and look at them and really score them on how they can make an impact in these important areas. These are the same strategic areas that are very important to the big strategic acquirers. And then we rank these technologies in the top 10 to 20% of the ones that can really improve the standard of care in these areas. And to give some numbers that back that up a little bit, the National Cancer Institute did an economic impact study and looked at $800 billion worth of phase 2 dollars that went into a cohort of companies. Those companies attracted $4 billion in outside private equity. Those same companies with a 4.8 in combined financing generated $22 billion worth of exits, and in addition, another 100 strategic licenses. So the overall economic impact of that $800 million initial funding from NIH drove 33 times returns for a total economic impact, which is, again, bigger returns. Stephanie hit on a lot of the points in terms of lower risk, where NIH is really bringing those companies further down the development pathway, reducing their risks, generating more mature companies that have actually achieved some important clinical milestones. And to emphasize what she said, you know, we're talking $1 billion in funding every year, some companies receiving tens of millions of dollars. That's real money. And this support, along with the free services that Chris talked about, helps these companies achieve important milestones that investors care about, like product development, generating compelling clinical and preclinical data. So, you know, for some numbers backing that up, we did one study showing that NIH-funded companies were 40% less likely to go out of business versus a matched cohort of people who applied for funds and didn't receive them. Another analysis of a DC life science investment company, about 26% of those companies, or life science investment conference, about 26% of those companies received NIH funding. Those companies were more than twice as likely to receive outside equity, 74% versus 35%. And those companies raised 15% more, the NIH companies raised 15% more than their peer matched cohort. So again, this model has worked really, really well over time. NIH bringing non-dilutive funds in early, while the investors can wait on the sidelines, have these companies hit important milestones and then invest later when they're more confident about the company's future. And it's created great companies like Genentech, Illumina, 23andMe, Biogen, Intuitive Surgical. And for a piece of corporate history that people might not know, Apple Computer, and it wasn't NIH funds, but Apple Computer received its first capital through a similar government small business investment fund, and that's how they got their start. So it just shows that these funds can really generate some amazing companies with some great entrepreneurs. And that's why you as investors and entrepreneurs should pay attention here. As my panelists said, reach out to us, find grant opportunities that you can really take advantage of, get to know your program officers in your therapeutic areas. And even, if you're looking for new investment opportunities, talk to your small business program managers at the various institutes, and find us at these major conferences like RESI, where we're sponsored 11 companies to come to this very conference. And I did a search on the partnering conference portal, and there's actually another 30 that are connected to NIH and received NIH funds in the past. So, a great way to, in conclusion, together we can build these great companies to make a significant impact on healthcare, generating great returns and reducing risk. And with that, I'll pass it back to Matt.
Great. Well, thank you, Stephanie and Chris and John, for helping us tell people about many of the exciting things that NIH is doing to help us really achieve the goal of the NIH tagline, which is turning discovery into health. So thank you very much for your attention. Whether you're an academic innovator, you're with a small business, you're an investor, you're a strategic partner, we think that SEED has some really exciting things going on that can be helpful for you. So to learn more, you can go to our website, which is seed.nih.gov, or for more information about the small business program, you can go to sbir.nih.gov. And thank you for your attention, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.